My question today is, why doesn't the most qualified candidate always get the job? That's a good question. And from my many years of recruiting, I know that on paper, who might look the most qualified isn't always the person selected. So I want to go through some reasons why that might be. The first reason is that the resume is not reflecting why you are the most qualified. So what happens is a lot of people write a resume thinking about what they want to say and not necessarily what the reader, either a recruiter or hiring manager, needs to hear. So you always need to think about your audience and give the audience what they need. So oftentimes the most qualified person might put the duties of the job, and they are not talking as much about why they are the best qualified. So always think about what value you bring to an employer. What does that mean? And that could be your accomplishments. It could be your education. You could be your industries you've worked in and the knowledge of them. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that the reader quickly understands that. Now, another thing that happens is that in interviews, person maybe has that information on the resume, but in an interview, they can't articulate that very well. So when asked questions, they may respond in generalities. Well, I usually do this, or in this situations, this is what happened, where they don't speak to specifics so the person can understand exactly what they would do in a certain situation. They don't articulate the value in an interview, and that can work against candidates. Now, a third thing that I see happen quite a lot is that in the hiring process, it's not just whether you have the abilities to do the job. It also is whether you are a person that fits in with the team, or that you fit in with the culture, or that you really want this job. Those are also factors in hiring. So you could be a very well qualified person and can show that during the interview, but you're not connecting with the people who are interviewing you, or you can't really talk about why you would be good in a team or why you really want this job. So remember, that's an important part of the hiring process. Lastly, often what happens is the most qualified people are not necessarily doing networking. So networking helps because it helps other people to understand who you are, what you can do, and then they can vouch for you by recommending you for jobs. But sometimes the most qualified person doesn't think that that is necessary. And so they don't do any networking. And when it comes to decisions, sometimes the people that have others who can vouch for them get the upper hand in selection, as opposed to the person that maybe is more qualified, but no one knows as much about how they actually do the job. So take that all into account as to why the most qualified person may not be the person that is hired.